Welcome back to another episode, everybody. Today, I really want to sit back and chat about burnout. I think this is something that a lot of new business owners and a lot of business owners run into. And I think there's this giant misconception with it. And I want to kind of dispel the belief that burnout exists. The reason why I wanted to talk about this, I was sitting down with a friend that owns a business, not cleaning. He was quote unquote burnt out. And he's been working like 10 hours a day for 7 days a week. And he's been doing it for like a year or something like that. And after just listening to him, I left. I couldn't stop thinking about it. But if I went back in time and asked myself what burnout was when I felt burnt out, I wouldn't even be able to define it. And if I wouldn't be able to define it, then how do I really know what it is? So today I'm going to give you my philosophy on burnout, how to overcome it, and a few other issues that you're probably bumping into with beliefs and why you're not able to move as quickly as you want your company. As always, my name is Peter Boland. I've closed over $50 million in commercial cleaning contracts, and I'm just here to tell you what's working for me. So for me, the way I define burnout is emotional exhaustion from repeated efforts without progress. And just the definition alone, like the biggest thing to look at in there is repeated efforts and no progress. So essentially, if you're doing the same thing again and again and again, and you're not moving forward, that's the issue here. Also, the other reason why I defined it this way is because I have never, ever in my life seen somebody cracking it in business or in life, at a sport, something that they're doing and they're great at, and then become burnt out. The only time I have ever seen burnout is because somebody has been pushing hard for a long time and they have not made any progress. Just from that alone means that there's some type of belief that they have that's limiting them from growing, and or there's some skill deficiency that they have, which is why they can't overcome it. And they're not good enough at doing something or don't know how to do something to overcome it. So when you say burnt out and you think of it as emotional exhaustion from repeated efforts without progress, what you're really saying in terms of like behaviorism is you are taking a lot of punishment and there's not enough reward for it anymore. So you're doing something and it's brutal and you're not getting anything out of it. But at the beginning, when you started doing it, it was just as brutal as it is now, but you got a lot of reward for it. You were learning new things. You were excited about a potential future. There was all this reward you had stacked into it. And then over time, that reward's gone away because you're like, oh, I'm not hitting the targets. I'm like stressed out. I'm not getting as far as I want to go. So it's just become a lot of punishment without a lot of reward. So beliefs are essentially your view or perception of reality based on your past experiences. All the beliefs that you have right now are from other people that have taught you it, things that you've done and learned lessons from. And it's all kind of accumulated into who you are as an individual. So an example of this is you were a kid, you were told not to touch the stove, okay? Now you have a belief that the stove is hot. Over time, you put pans on it, you've seen it's hot. That is a good belief to have because the pan actually is hot. But there's a lot of terrible beliefs to have. The easy ones are like the stove. You know the stove is hot. You know if you go outside and it's scorching out and you don't put sunscreen on, maybe you're going to burn. Or you've burnt before in the past. So you have these beliefs that kind of hold you down so you can operate in the world without really thinking a whole lot, and they keep you safe and protected. But you have these other beliefs that are holding you back from where you want to go. So a few examples of these beliefs are, I hear a lot of the people I coach say, I can't find any good people. No one out there is willing to work hard anymore. So that's a belief that they have. I hear actually a belief I get a lot of the time is people tell me what I do for my business is impossible. How we get appointments, then get a quote over a screen share without even seeing the building. We send somebody down to get the keys and then we start cleaning without ever being in a city. We do all of that without having a manager there, having somebody go in, view the facility. Everything we do is from distance. And people all the time are in disbelief and say, you can't do that. There's no way. The quality's not going to be there. The pricing's not going to be accurate. So these people have these beliefs on how they think business should go based on what they've seen or other people have told them. But those beliefs are holding them back from actually being able to do what I do, which I mean is a good thing for me because there's not a lot of competition in what I do. And it's not just domain specific to my company. I've actually trained other people how to do this in other companies, and they're now getting quotes over screen share. So I've done this over 5 or 6 companies, and I've just started coaching over the past 3 months, and all of them have been successful in doing it. So it is possible. So we have a lot of beliefs from what we experienced. And those beliefs are usually the best, unless you have come to the wrong conclusion on it, and now it's just a bad belief. But a lot of the beliefs that we have are adopted from other people. So these are other people that have told us things, and then we've adopted them to be true without any signs of evidence. And those beliefs, I find, are usually the most insidious because as we're growing up and as we're meeting people, we don't know if the people we're around are the best people. And if you adopt somebody else's beliefs who isn't where you are, who hasn't done what you wanted to do, doesn't have what you want to have, it's going to limit you in some way from getting what you want out of life because their belief has got them to where they want to go or to where they are. And it's not going to get you to where you want to go. So if I adopt beliefs from people who are where I want to go, have what I want to have, and have done what I want to do. One of my favorite quotes ever is, we question all our beliefs, except the ones we truly believe, and those we never think to question. And it's just because as I've grown and as I've done things, especially in this industry that nobody's done before, I've learned that I had a lot of things inside that were holding me back from where I want to go. And when I first created this process to the point where everything would be from distance, we don't have to be in a city, nothing at all. It's everybody told me I was nuts. My employees told me I was nuts. My family told me I was crazy. My friends, other people in the industry, when I went to events for, would tell me I'm absolutely bonkers and it's not going to work. And it's funny now because I see those same people at events where I go and speak to now about this. And they're still stuck where they are because they have these limiting beliefs on what they can do. A lot of these people, I started this 7-8 years ago doing this. And a lot of those people had a belief of they couldn't find right employees to clean the buildings. It was never done good enough. And what's happened is those people, when I go back to an event, I'm speaking at it like 8 years later, are still saying the same things to me. They haven't learned that it's not the fact that there's no good people out there. It's that they have a really poor belief that there's no good people out there when their belief should be, oh, there's a lot of good people out there. I just don't know how to find them, hire them, train them, and incentivize them to keep doing well. So for a long time, I've broken beliefs, but I never really had a process on how to do it. I would just say to myself, I don't think it needs to be done this way. And then I would attempt at changing it. But the problem with that was I would have to go through all this pain in order to get to a point where I was like, I don't think it needs to be done this way. Maybe it's something I'm doing wrong, because I would just keep trying things. And now I immediately jump to, is there a belief I have that is holding me back? And I do this for a lot of my people within my company. Everybody has these beliefs that they hold to be true, which are holding them back. And I probably go through this process daily with my management team. So I probably go through this belief breaking process that I've created now with my management team daily. So the first thing, if you have a belief that you need to break, is you need to identify it. You need to identify it and then the reason why you believe that. So I actually ran through this with somebody I was coaching, and they said to me, well, there's no good people out there. I can't find anybody. And the first thing I asked is, I'm like, okay, so why do you believe that there's no good people out there? So it's identify it. He said to me, because I've hired 3 or 4 people and it hasn't worked out. I'll do interviews with 5 people and they won't show up to the interview. Okay, so that's fair. So the second stage we go to is really evidence. Has somebody else or yourself done this in a different domain? And then the next part we go to is evidence. Like, has somebody else done this, or have maybe you done this in a different domain and you've been able to overcome it? Now, when I ran through the evidence with him, I was like, okay, is there any other cleaning company out there that has done hiring before and hired a lot of good cleaners? And obviously the first thing he said is, well, yeah, a lot of companies have done it. Okay, so if somebody else has been able to do it, that means it's possible. And usually it means you just don't know how to do something. So the problem is your belief, because it was hard, you didn't think it should be that hard. And you're like, oh, then you just assign this belief that there's no good people out there. Instead of being like, okay, this is hard. Either I have the wrong expectation of how hard this is going to be to find good people, or I don't have a skill set, or maybe both. So once you have the evidence that you're wrong, the next thing you go to is usefulness. And usefulness is really just, is there any use to the belief I have? So him saying there's no good people out there has kept him at having like 10 contracts for like a year and a half, because he doesn't want to hire somebody else to clean the building so he could get more, and he can't clean anymore. So that is just holding him where he is. So there is no usefulness to that belief whatsoever. It's actually the belief that's holding him back. Now, if you look at usefulness for the stove, is there a usefulness to know a stove is hot and not touch it? Yeah, so you don't get burnt. There is usefulness there. But 9 times out of 10, when I attack somebody else's beliefs that are limiting them, actually almost 100 out of 10, when I attack somebody else's beliefs that are limiting them, all that happens, they don't have a good reason why it's keeping them where they are. Now, they might say things like, well, because if I put in a bad person, I'm going to lose a building. But that's part of the process of learning how to do it. A company that you clean for took a chance on you cleaning, and there was a risk that you weren't going to be good at it either. You have to now take a risk on somebody after you've learned the skill set of finding somebody, hiring them, training them, and then incentivizing them in order to be great and grow. Like, you have to. Or sometimes it bumps into another belief. Well, if I hire somebody and put them in there, that means I'm making less money, and I need the money because I can't afford my bills. So that's a belief. And maybe that belief is true. But again, if you want to grow, those two things can't be true at the same time. So you need to figure out a way. Maybe you save up for 3 months and then put somebody in there, and then you have a nest egg for a few months. So sometimes beliefs are like stacked on top of other beliefs, and you just need to keep going through this process of identifying evidence, usefulness, identifying evidence, usefulness, identifying evidence, usefulness, and then breaking them all until you're able to go and succeed. Now, beliefs are everywhere. They're everywhere, and they deeply, deeply affect you. I bump into this all the time with every single position that we have. If it's an appointment setter, over time, they'll be like, well, the leads are bad. That's why I'm not getting my appointments. And everybody jumps to these beliefs because it's easier to pass judgment onto something else than it is to take the accountability that maybe you're doing something wrong and fixing it, because that requires work. And I can tell you 100% of the time with leads, I can tell you 100% of the time with appointment setters, when they have said the leads are bad, I have gone and monitored their calls, and it's usually something to do with their tonality, their effort, they're not following process, or maybe they're following process on 70% of their calls and not 100, and those 30% they're not doing it are the ones they would have got appointments on. We have to correct that. People jump to beliefs because it makes the world easier for them to understand. And a lot of the times the beliefs are to advocate responsibility, because doing the work to figure out how to do it correctly is just too hard, and people don't want to do it. So like in finding cleaners, we have a building changeover team, BCO, where their whole point is to contact people that we have had, is to contact people that have applied take them through a training program, and then get them into our company as alliancees. And I will all the time hear from them, oh, we can't find the right avatar. There's nobody out there. And then again, when I go look into it, what I find is they're making 70% of the calls that they should. They are not vetting correctly. They're not asking for referrals. There's always some reason why they can't find somebody to take it through. So in our BCO team, we have two levels to it. We have scouts who just look for people to take through the process. And then we have fillers. And what they do is once somebody's graduated training, put them into a building. They will get extremely overwhelmed sometimes because we bring on 65 new clients every single month and they have to fill them. Plus there's usually 20 to 30 other partners who maybe are giving up a building, and they have to fill all those buildings. And we have multiple people in this position. And they will say that there's not enough people in order to fill the buildings and they're too busy. And then when I go and look into it, there's people that they haven't called in 3 months or 2 months to put into a building, and they're just not doing the process correctly. But they will say to me, there is no people for us to put into buildings. They have this belief they assign to it instead of running through the process and being like, okay, identifying this, finding evidence, is this even useful, right? Because once you go through the process of identifying evidence and usefulness, and if you're saying, well, there's no good people out there, so these beliefs happen everywhere. So I want to let you know these beliefs happen everywhere. They're happening to you. They're happening to everybody in my company. They happen to me. It's your job to break the bad ones and to find a way to succeed. Nobody is going to come save you in this. Now, I mentioned two other things, a poor expectation of reality, and I mentioned skills. So I define skills as an ability to do something consistently well. It's something that you have done, learned, repeated, and then become good at it. Tying your shoelaces from when you were a kid is now a skill you have. Brushing your teeth is a skill you have. Showering is a skill you have. Our whole life is just a bunch of skills that we have, which accumulate to who we are. And when we're 0 to 18 years old, we're constantly learning new skills because we're in school and we're being taught to. Whether those skills are useful or not, it's a whole other conversation, but we're constantly being taught new skills. When we start a new company, we're being taught new skill sets. But for some reason, we don't on our own go out and learn new skill sets without somebody having to force us. And maybe you do. And if you do, that's amazing. But learning the skills is what's super, super important. And you need to learn them, maybe to just have a baseline of them for your business or to become excellent at it so you can train people within your company to do it. And the other thing I said was expectation of reality. Poor expectation of reality is essentially believing that something should be easier or faster than it is, or something should be different than it is in reality. So the second part is like, if you jumped off a roof and wanted to fly and then fell and hurt yourself and you're pissed off because you can't fly and that's not fair, it should be different. Well, that's just having a poor outlook on reality. That's just the way reality is. You can't change that. Now, maybe you can get in a plane, fly that, like there's ways around it, but you as an individual jumping off a roof without anything cannot fly, and being pissed off at that fact that you can't do that and wishing the world was different is going to cause you nothing but pain. The other part of it I said is believing things should be easier or faster than they should be. Again, is just a very poor expectation of reality, because honestly, every single thing I've done has taken longer, costed more, and been harder than I originally thought it was going to be. And when you're new to something and you're starting a company, you are so excited. And you're like, man, if I could just get to $1 million by the end of the year, which is $80,000 a month, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set my target for getting 25 new contracts every single month. And then 2 months goes by and you're getting 1 or 2 contracts, and you've set these targets at the beginning, and now you're all upset and angry because you're not moving as quick as you are. It's just you had a poor expectation of reality. And I see a lot of new people do this. They have no skill sets on how to get clients, how to grow a business, how to keep them, how to find the right cleaners, how to service the clients correctly. But they set targets for them to hit. And when they don't hit them, they're upset. But you have no clue what it takes to get there. Now, if you're doing it for a year and you realize that if you knock on 10 doors, you get 1 walkthrough and you close 30% of walkthroughs, then you could do the math and be like, all right, if I do 100 door knocks, I get 10 quotes, and that means I get 3 deals. That makes sense. Then you can start predicting what your future looks like, because now you have analytics to it. And now you can have a more accurate sense of reality. But if you're trying to use prediction without analytics, you're just guessing, and you are going to let yourself down greatly. And if you still want to have targets to hit, that's totally fine. You can still have targets to hit, but I wouldn't make it based on money. I would make it based on daily outputs. So I'm going to do 25 door knocks a day and not even care about the outcome of how much money you're going to make. Just focus on the daily work, and then the outcome will come. And it still might not come by when you want it to. I highly recommend you to go through these steps that I've told you, which is 1, do you have a poor expectation of reality? Are you thinking something should be easier than it is and it should be quicker than you want it to be? And if you determine that you're like, no, I've been doing this for a year and a half and I'm at the same place, great. Run through the belief process. What are the things that you are saying to yourself that is stopping you from growing? Well, I just can't work any more hours than 10 hours a day. I can't find the right people to do it. I don't have money to invest. I don't know how to do blank. Overcome those beliefs, and then look for the skill sets you need to learn in order to move to the next level. And then once you learn those skill sets, you implement them and you keep moving. Those 3 are what will help you fight off burnout. Now, if you're not feeling burnt out, I just want to let you know that those 3 steps, skills, beliefs, and having an accurate representation, and those 3 steps will help you. Now, if you're not burnt out and you're cracking away at things and you're doing good, but maybe you're not growing, or you're running into some problem, but you're growing a little bit, but not as quick as you want to go. And those 3 steps will still help you. Make sure you have an accurate expectation of reality. See what beliefs are holding you back from getting to where you want to go or moving quicker, and then figure out what skill sets you need to have in order to get there. And you just keep repeating this process, and then evaluating, and then just keep doing it. And then you're going to grow your company, and you're going to live a better life than what you have now. So I hope you like this video. If you would like to sit down with me and have a 30-minute coaching where we can talk about these or other things within your business, it's free. Click the link in the description. If you'd also like to work with me one-on-one, let me know. And if I have some space, I'll make it available to you. Other than that, please like and subscribe. And I hope you have an amazing day. And thank you very much for watching my video.